Hey everybody, it's Big John back again, sitting out here in Darrell. I know I haven't had a great chance or real opportunity to upload much. I haven't been getting a whole lot done lately. Life in the way. My sister-in-law is staying with us and her kids and that and work. Took this big old tree down in the front yard. That it was a big old dead ash tree. We had that dropped. I've been working on cleaning that up, and it's just me and Darrell here to do that kind of stuff. So, but right now I wanted to touch base with you, let you know my latest project on him is the gauges here. So I didn't want to spend, $1,000, $1,200 on Dakota Digital or even the billet panel that would go in here, so I can put my own gauges in is $300-$400 plus the gauges. So I just don't have that kind of money to spend on this old truck. So that parts truck I bought that I've been tearing apart had a pretty nice set in it. So if you look around here at Darrell, a lot of the striping here, the paint on here on the gauges is gone. Here where it says temp and the line underneath, and some of the other gauges are like that. The logo here, and it's just all cloudy. The green screen here is gone for the cold temperature. And the bezel here is just black plastic, and it's cracked on a screw or two. So I was cleaning up, trying to do a cheap restoration. Sorry about the wind noise. We're headed to the house. Tried to do a cheap restoration on the gauges that came out of that parts truck. They actually had a metal bezel, stainless steel, I believe, and they're turning out pretty good. So that bezel was pretty dingy, so I scrubbed it down and cleaned it up, and it wasn't coming as clean as I wanted it to. So I hit it with a little sandpaper, cleaned it up, and then brought it out here. That's just one coat with the metallic silver Krylon Fusion all-in-one primer. That's one coat on it. I'm going to do another coat here in a little bit, and then maybe a clear coat. Put this all back together maybe tomorrow. I'm not sure when I'm going to get them in the truck, but let me take you in the house, show you the rest of them. All right. So we're here in the reloading room, and this is when you take these gauges apart to separate this, and then that bezel will be out here, and there's just a few screws around the edge. So you can see one in each corner, a couple along the bottom, one up in the middle, on the top. But all of these look to be in pretty good shape, so I'm just going to wipe out that bottom yet. But all of the covers for the idiot lights are all in good shape and all there. Speedo looks good, gas gauge looks good. So we're going to just wipe out the bottom there and leave that alone. You can through some of the aftermarket suppliers, Classic Industries, LMC, whatever, you can get replacement fuel gauge, speedo, all that for these. But then, so this is the face plate, and it cleaned up really well. So that'll go over the top here. You see your gauges through it, but there was some probably what looked like mouse urine running down it. So that's what the gauges will actually look like. The cover. So, and then for your numbers, this is on the front underneath the bezel. And that was a little cloudy, but better than the one that's in Darrell. And I just rubbed it down real quick with some of this Meguiar's plastics cleaner. Just real quick with a microfiber cloth. And wipe that down. But all the lettering and everything's still on it and in good shape. So then that'll sit like that. You can just see how much better that looks already. How much clearer that looks. And then that silver bezel around instead of the broken up black one. I think it's going to look great. I will show you a finished product when I get the bezel done and get it all screwed back together. And then eventually when I get it in the truck. Alright, it's a couple days later. So here is the finished product of my gauges. I think it turned out pretty good. And there's what I had before. And you can see, get the light off of it, see how cloudy that is, and the paint's coming off, and just the difference there. So, got the only real issue I'm having is with the key switch here. I don't have the key to the truck, never did get it. The ignition was so wore out that it didn't need the key to turn. I got the new lock cylinder coming, so I just drilled the old one out. Got it out. We'll have to, I still got some work to do on it, so we're gonna actually have keys to the truck now. So, and then I also picked up on Amazon these blue LED bulbs to go in the back of it, so have blue backlighting when you turn the dash lights on. So I'll show you when we get it in the truck how that looks. All right, finish this up. So I got the new gauges all in. Drove the truck to work today. Got it all put back together. I used the knob for the wiper motor off the other truck because it's the original knob. Used the choke cable off the other truck because this had like a T-handle throttle cable style choke. So I just think that one looked a little better. I did put a new lock cylinder in the ignition, and that was a chore because I don't have the keys to the old lock cylinder. I never got keys with the truck, but the lock cylinder was wore out and didn't need them. So I had to drill it out and then use a chisel and get it out without damaging the switch. But for like $10, I got a new one just through the parts store. I think O'Reilly's or AutoZone or whatever. I called them that morning. They had it here that evening. Put that in. So now I actually have keys to the truck. And they're the original Briggs & Stratton style keys that say for GM cars only, which is pretty cool. And it's a little funky because it's cocked back over this way where the old one was straight up and down. But you see the lights come on, lights go off. It's kind of touchy. But then while I was in here doing this, finishing it up, I had to clean the contacts up here on a fusible link to get my turn signals working. But I got them done, and I changed the kick panel vent down here. So that because those were silicone shut on this truck. So I put the new one in or the other one in on this side. I still have to do the one on the passenger side. The wheel, this is straight for the wheel. I got it, so I'm gonna have to pull the wheel back off and straighten that out, but that's not a huge deal. I can do that. What else did I do to it while I had her down? I put the vent over the latch on the vent window over here. That's just a matter of a roll pin that's down on the bottom side over here, under here. Put that on, so now that vent window will close. And then I took the door panel off and tightened the screws for the exterior door latch over on that side, because they were loose. And that door handle was loose and floppy. And then I changed it. I put a new wire connector on the temp sender under the hood, because I found a broken wire under there, but that doesn't seem to work because the lights still haven't come on, cold or hot. So I might try to throw a new temp sender in there and see what happens, because I know I put good bulbs in. I checked all those while I had it out. And I put those blue LEDs in for the dash lights. And then I put a clear bulb in for those two lights, the generator and the oil. And then I tried to get a clear bulb in for the turn signal lights. But this one over here, you can see I got a blue one in. So, but that side's green. I can't really tell it's flashing, but it is. It's flashing. I didn't think at first that the LEDs worked. The blue LEDs, because when I first tried it, the dash lights didn't come on, or I didn't think they came on. So, like, if I pull the switch out right now, you can't see anything. But when I got in it this morning to drive it to work, they were lit up blue. So they work on. It does look pretty good. I like it. And then the speedometer. So when I bought the truck a little over a year ago, I was told the speedometer cable was broke. So I was going to take the cable out of the other truck and put it in here, because it did work. When we pulled the truck the speedometer was working. But when I pulled the gauges out, the cable was disconnected. So I played with it, and it had resistance. It didn't want to turn. So I just plugged it back into these gauges, thinking we'd see what happened. And it works. So the gearing in this truck, it's in high gear by 25 mile an hour, and cruising speed, nice cruising speed on it is 45 to 50. Fastest I've had it since I put the gauges in, got it working, I ran it up to about 55, but that's starting to work it pretty hard. I think top speed, you're going to get 60, maybe a little over. And you're probably not going to want to run it much harder than that, at least without a tack. So that's some of my next major projects with this. I need to rebuild the carburetor or get a new carburetor to put on it. This one has some issues. I want to get a tack for it. I'm looking at an autometer tack, like a 2.5, 3-inch tack. I'm going to get a set of the under the gauge pods that mount under here, just so I actually have an oil gauge, so I have numbers to look at, temperature gauge, so I know I have that stuff working. I don't like relying on the idiot lights. Right now I'm doing my best to make sure they're working until I can get gauges in here. And then I'm going to do something with the exhaust eventually, and the fuel tank. I'm going to get the fuel tank off of the bed. Right now it's running a square body fuel tank on the bed, plumbed in, but the gauge isn't right because the ohm range is different on that sending unit for what this gauge needs. So it just pegs to full all the time until you get it like 1/8 of a tank or so, and it starts fluttering around, bouncing, and you need to get fuel. But when these gauges were in the other truck, before I started tearing it apart, that gauge did work. It showed 1/4 of a tank or so, and that truck had 3 or 4 gallons in it. So, and it had like a brand new tank. So we're going to stick that tank in here one of these days. I'm going to get a new rubber piece for where the filler neck meets the body. Before I do that, but the tank and the sending unit and all look like brand new. So, thanks for watching.